If you're not already stocking your pantry with fall and winter supplies, now is the time to do so. More grocery and household supply shortages are coming soon, according to retailers. That's why the importance of being prepared for such an event is getting increasingly clear. On top of that, over the next few months, several products from iPhones to car parts and prescription medications are going to be in short supply, meaning that Americans should start bracing for stockouts and empty shelves once again. By taking action before these shortages spread across the supply chain system, families can ensure they have the necessary supplies to stay self-reliant and independent, even during emergencies and in times of crisis. For that reason, today, we've compiled a list of shortages that may cause a lot of stress for U.S. consumers in the next few months. Before moving on, please support our work with a thumbs up on this video. Without further ado, here are 20 shortages that will make people panic this fall. 1. iPhones. The latest versions of Apple's iPhone Pro and Pro Max models will be in short supply this fall, as the tech giant struggles with manufacturing woes, according to a report by The Information. Apple and its suppliers are coping with issues such as implementing a new manufacturing process that will allow its upcoming iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max to have a larger screen display than previous models of the smartphone. This process allows Apple to create iPhones with larger screens without making the device itself bigger. A source familiar with the matter told the outlet that the screens made by LG Display have failed reliability tests during production. These problems are forcing Apple to roll out its iPhone Pro 15 and Pro Max with fewer available units than expected when they go on sale to the public in September, which will make the top-end models more difficult to find during the holiday shopping season. The report also highlighted that the manufacturing issues have especially hampered the Pro Max, suggesting there will be a more severe shortage of that model. 2. Snacks. Some of the most popular snacks will be in short supply soon. While consumers tend to buy more snacks during the colder months to avoid having to take multiple trips to the grocery store, the production of several snacks is going down due to lower agricultural production. For instance, sugar and cocoa shortages are likely to result in shortages of sweets and chocolate. A drop in the production of nuts can impact the availability of trail mix, nut butters, and granola bars this fall. Whole grain crackers and biscuits are suffering from a worldwide shortage of wheat. Meanwhile, a nationwide potato shortage is likely to reduce the variety of potato chips and frozen fries we find at our local supermarket. On top of that, a shortage of corn is expected to cause stockouts of hard-shell tortillas and is even disrupting the production of Doritos right now. 3. Gasoline. The U.S. is at risk of facing massive supply gaps for gasoline due to falling production in recent months. According to the EIA, that's especially true during bouts of extreme weather that can force refineries to halt operations temporarily in the months ahead. U.S. refining capacity is already at historically low levels, about 10% below year-ago levels. In the past few weeks, Americans already started to feel the impact of this, with gasoline prices near, at, or above the $4 mark in most states. 4. Car parts. According to a new report by The Guardian, the shortage of car parts is leaving many American drivers in a limbo as manufacturers put car sales first. Motorists are waiting months for repairs or having cars written off simply because replacement parts simply cannot be found or bought. According to Chris Rosamond, current affairs and features editor of car magazine Auto Express, poor communications on the part of manufacturers and a drive to boost sales at the expense of repairs is giving millions of drivers some major headaches in recent months, a trend that is expected to intensify in the third and fourth quarters. In recent months, parts shortages have caused manufacturers to prioritize new vehicle production and they're choosing to ring-fence parts supplies or production capacity for that purpose, he explains. The knock-on effect has been frustration and uncertainty, often not helped by a less than transparent approach from manufacturers when it comes to sharing information via dealers. Industry insiders say the situation is the worst they've ever seen. It's horrendous, says one senior executive in the body repair sector who asked to remain anonymous. Every manufacturer is affected by the current shortage of semiconductor chips. Because car production dropped during the pandemic, manufacturers cut back orders for spare parts. Now, manufacturers find themselves at the back of the queue. Once they get hold of chips, they use available spare parts to put into new cars, as that's where the money is, he revealed. 5. Building supplies. Whether you're planning to do some home renovations on your own or you're a home buyer right now, tighter supplies for building materials are likely to impact your plans in the final stretch of 2023. After 2 years of growth, demand to build new homes is slowing this year, reports CNBC. But according to the Associated General Contractors of America, AGC, 93% of the 602 members surveyed reported experiencing material shortages this year. For instance, the waterproofing foam used for stucco laths is in short supply right now. During the pandemic, lumber was also in demand, but the National Association of Home Builders reported sawmills were slow to react to consumer and retailer demand for lumber. Now, prices are soaring due to a combination of multiple supply chain problems, and many materials won't see improvements in production until next spring. 6. Amoxicilin. A form of amoxicillin used to make liquid doses for children is facing an acute shortage right now, according to the Food and Drug Administration. The agency said that the supply shortfalls could lead to potentially serious or life-threatening situations, in particular in the pediatric population as we approach the respiratory illness season. In fact, a survey conducted by the Ohio State University's Fisher College of Business found that about 99% of healthcare system pharmacists say they're experiencing medicine shortages, including nearly a third who say that the current shortages are critically impactful, leading to rationing, delaying, or canceling treatments or procedures. In the case of amoxicillin, capacity is difficult and expensive to ramp up due to a lack of flexibility in the equipment and processes used to make the medication. 7. Applesauce. Extreme weather events had a disastrous impact on apple crops in recent years. High temperatures, heavy rains, floods, hurricanes, and a shortage of fertilizers have contributed to a steep decline in apple production in 2023. According to experts with Fresh Plaza, apple harvests are expected to be 50% smaller this year compared to the same period a year ago. With supplies cut in half, many products that contain apples are set to face stockouts and shortages in the next few months, and that's especially true for applesauce. 8. Turkey. Thanksgiving's favorite bird has had another rough year. After avian flu outbreaks killed millions of birds last year, farmers have prioritized chicken and egg production in 2023, leading to a lower supply of turkey that will likely impact holiday celebrations once again. In 2022, turkey prices jumped by nearly 30%, and this fall, shoppers should expect a similar price increase for these seasonal birds if they can find one this fall. 9. Consumer electronics. Many retailers have anticipated a decline in demand for the consumer electronics category, and they haven't ordered as many products as they did a year ago. With consumers tightening their budgets and skipping big-ticket purchases for most of 2023, retailers were losing money by keeping these products in their warehouses while sales continue to go down. However, if consumer trends change during this holiday season, they will have a huge problem on their hands. They will simply not have enough products to sell at their stores if demand increases more than expected. which means that a shortage of consumer electronics may come to fruition in the coming months. 10. Books. You may struggle to find the latest book releases at stores this fall. That's because one of the most basic products is now experiencing a shortage. When paper demand tanked during the pandemic, many paper mills pivoted to produce packaging and cardboard to keep up with newfound dependence on online shopping, resulting in a nearly 20% reduction in production capacity from 2019, and that's according to Era Forest Products research. But once the health crisis was over, demand for paper products spiked, and mills have not restored pre-pandemic production levels yet. Many of the mills that transitioned to packaging cannot easily revert back to simply paper production. On top of that, paper's raw material costs to produce the paper have risen dramatically, pushing the price of paper up by as much as 60%, Business Insider reported. In other words, if you're waiting to get your hands on the hottest new novel or sci-fi release, you should probably prepare your wallet or opt for an e-book. 11. Cookies. Cookie production is being impacted by shortages of flour, sugar, eggs, butter, and chocolate chips, pretty much all the ingredients needed to make these sweet treats. Consumer demand, on the other hand, is expected to rise as we approach the back-to-school season, Halloween, and the holidays. On average, consumers are paying 19% more for their store-bought cookies compared to a year ago. For those baking their own cookies, ingredients are costing between 8% to a whopping 40% more than a year ago levels. This problem is getting progressively worse since January. One example of how bad things have become is the fact that boxes of Girl Scout cookies are now selling for $35 on eBay. Normally they cost just $5 a box. 12. Power. A prolonged and extensive cold snap last winter sent demand soaring and triggered a suspension of the national electricity market. Right now, the nation's power generation capacity remains compromised, with an association of grid operators recently warning about an impending energy crisis in the United States. That means that our system is extremely vulnerable to power outages and rolling blackouts in the colder months. To make things worse, the limited availability of energy supplies can trigger electricity price spikes, as happened last year. 13. Exercise gear. You'd think exercise gear would be back in stock 3 years after everyone started working out at home due to lockdowns and gym closings. Even though things are slowly improving, there are still significant shortages. Bicycling reports that the bike shortage that started in 2020 is still ongoing. The supply chain is a big problem now, as well as labor shortages and logistical issues. But a lack of components keeps higher-end bikes off the trails and roads. Prices and wait times are increasing too. Chains, cassettes, brake pads, tires, and drivetrain kits are also a big weight. Derek Fetko, co-owner of On Your Left Cycles in Louisville, Kentucky, told the outlet, explaining wait time for a new bike can be 6 to 18 months. I'd say it actually gotten worse, he said. Other at-home workout gear, such as weights and dumbbells, are facing availability issues due to manufacturing issues. 14. Tampons. Photos of empty feminine product shelves across the United States have gone viral in recent months as consumers scrambled to find tampons. Social media users have taken to Reddit, Twitter, and internet listservs to talk about the shortage, citing out-of-stock signs, long wait times for new supplies, and rising prices. Walgreens stores are still experiencing some temporary brand-specific tampon shortages in certain geographies, according to a company spokesperson. Meanwhile, CVS is imposing quantity limitations on select products amid tampon shortages, the company said. Tampon industry executives have explained that the shortages are due to high demand coupled with rising production costs. Moreover, broader supply chain disruptions, including factory closures and labor shortages, have made it harder and more expensive to procure the materials necessary for manufacturing tampons in 2023. And 15. Winter supplies. If you live in an area where winters are harsh, the time to start purchasing winter supplies is now. Although many stores just put their winter gear out during late fall, you can find lots of deals online and save some money by buying now instead of when everyone else is rushing to do so ahead of a weather emergency. Winter tires are a must for those who live in colder regions too. They provide better traction and handling in snowy and icy conditions, which means you're less likely to get into an accident, less likely to spend money on repairs. Space heaters, also great things to have for taking the chill out of a room without cranking up the heat. And your utility bill. Just make sure to choose one that's safe and Energy Star certified, so you don't have to worry about it using too much electricity. Buying a good snow shovel will help you to clean your driveway, walkways, and any other areas around your property so that you can safely get to where you need to go. Moreover, don't forget to get some rock salt and ice melters to your sidewalks and driveways, clear and free of dangerous slick spots. 16. Propane. About 20% to 25% of propane is created from crude oil refining, and the remainder of production comes from natural gas wells. The OPEC Plus cuts on oil production and the reduced refining activity in the U.S. are combining to create a propane shortage during the final months of 2023. Last fall's shortage of propane led to emergency declarations covering 9 Midwest states. A similar scenario can happen again this year, and prices can become up to 40% more expensive over the next couple of months. 17. Penicillin. Pfizer is warning about supply shortfalls of its penicillin offerings. The pharmaceutical company's antibiotic comes in a long-acting form or in a combination of 2 different penicillin types. Pfizer attributes the supply hiccup to a complex combination of factors, including significant demand increases and a rise in syphilis infection rates, which soared by 32% in the past year. As it stands, all doses of the company's combination penicillin syringes are expected to run out during this year's third quarter. The medication is used for a range of bacterial infections, including strep throat, but is the preferred treatment for STDs. 18. Pancake and baking mixes. The global shortage of wheat and flour may disrupt our breakfast habits this fall. Pancake and baking mixes are likely to disappear from grocery stores in the weeks and months ahead as consumer demand continues to rise faster than available supply. These affordable and easy-to-make meals are great for long-term storage due to their long shelf life. So, if you find any deals at your local store, don't miss the chance to buy some extra to refill your pantry and avoid stressing over empty shelves later on. 19. Dried fruit. Dried fruit is a popular snack and also an important ingredient in many fall and winter recipes. However, in the coming months, it'll become significantly harder to find it on store shelves, meaning that many American families may be forced to adapt some of their traditional holiday dishes. Right now, food makers and retailers are already grappling with shortages and lower supplies of fresh fruits. This situation is expected to intensify as fall and winter harvests come at lower than expected levels, according to USDA forecasts. Reduced supplies also mean that prices are starting to go up. In fact, according to Fresh Plaza, some dried fruits, including raisins and apricots, are facing price increases of 15% to 20% right now. 20. First aid kit. This is one of the first things to go missing when an emergency hits. If you haven't restocked your first aid kit in a while, maybe it's time to do so before everyone else starts doing the same in the winter months. Some of the supplies that are likely to disappear first are adhesive bandages, gauze pads, bandage tape, antiseptic wipes, hydrogen peroxide, antibiotic ointment, hydrocortisone cream, and latex gloves, so keep that in mind next time you go shopping. Those who are looking to save time, money, and effort may want to consider buying emergency food supplies and checking for deals on other products on online platforms before a seasonal shift in consumer demand occurs. The important thing is not to wait until you realize something is missing at your local store to start searching for it, because by then it may be too late. If you're noticing shortages of other products in your area, please share your experience in the comments section down below. We hope you've enjoyed this video, and before leaving, make sure you turn the notification bell on to always know when a new video is coming up.